Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Trey Brooks, and I've just been saying that I was gonna start a YouTube channel since like last year around this time, and I just decided that I'm gonna stop talking about it. I'm gonna be about it. So basically, what my channel is gonna be about is about real estate investing, how to start when you're young, how to start when you really don't have that much money, and just how to build a successful business and how to change your mindset, that kind of thing. The stuff that I had to go through, and just practical tips and tricks that can hopefully add value and help to change the lives of other people. So let's get started. So yeah, just a little bit about me. My name is Trey Brooks. I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. I just recently moved to Atlanta, Georgia to do bigger and better things. But I started my career in Jackson, Mississippi, and that's where I was able to do 70 deals my first year and a half in the business. So that includes wholesaling. I had Airbnbs, property management, rentals, notes, a whole spectrum of things. So I have experience in a lot of things. When I started, I hit the ground rolling. I sacrificed a lot to get to where I am, to do the things that I've done, and it's been paying off. It's been a great life and great journey so far. So basically how I got started in the business is I was 18 years old, and I was kind of like a party kid. I didn't really have any ambition, didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. But let my parents tell you, I was kind of smart in a sense, but just didn't apply myself, I guess you could say. And I just like to party a lot. So I would skip school, wasn't going to class, wasn't doing my homework, but somehow I still managed to pass. So long story short, I was just like, dude, like, I need to be a contribution to society. I need to change my life around. Like, there has to be more to this life than just going out with people that barely like me, than just partying it up all the time, and meeting people that don't have any substance and so forth and so on. So then that's when I just was like, okay, I need to take a step back. I need to work on developing myself, maybe changing my mindset. That way I can bring about the reality of my dreams. And so what I did was I just started reading self-help books. The first book I read was Think and Grow Rich, and that's kind of how I learned about like the law of attraction, and that you can really, I guess you could say, your thoughts can bring about your reality. I know that sounds kind of weird for the superstitious folks, but I truly like 100% believe in that kind of thing. So I read Think and Grow Rich, and then after reading Think and Grow Rich, I read The Power of Your Subconscious Mind and Rich Dad Poor Dad. And those two books were like detrimental to everything. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy definitely changed my total outlook on life, changed my self-talk, changed the way that I talk to myself in my head, my thoughts, and so forth and so on. And so as a result of my thoughts changing, my habits and my patterns, my actions start to change. So when I started talking to myself like, hey, like, I want to be successful, or I am successful, I'm ambitious, I'm consistent, I don't procrastinate, I just positive affirmations, just feeding your brain things instead of just saying like, I'm a failure, I'm a screw up, like, I'm never gonna be anything in life, and so forth and so on. So I just changed my self-talk, and once I started doing that, I just like started getting drawn to different activities. So I was really like career driven at that, not career driven, but like future driven at that point. I was like, okay, so I really want to be wealthy. How can I be wealthy? What can I do? Please, like, give me an answer, show me a sign. Like, I didn't know like what to do, what steps to take. So what does any kid or millennial do? They go look it up on our internet. So I started like researching things like different various not various things, but I went on like the Forbes like top 100 list and looked at what the wealthiest people in the world did, and lo and behold, of course, a lot of them were real estate investors or real estate entrepreneurs. And so what I did was I was like, okay, like, I've always had an interest in real estate. I used to watch HGTV back when I was a kid, eating cereal in front of the television. So I was like, okay, let me look more into real estate. So I was scrolling down my Instagram feed one day, just slacking off, looking at other people's pictures, and I get a sponsored ad from a real estate investment coach, or not coach, or like guru, I guess you could say. So I ended up going to that meeting with one of my really good friends, and it ended up being a sales pitch, but like the concept was there, if that makes sense. Like, the meeting wasn't worth going to. Well, it was worth going to, but like they were feeding off your emotions and hoping that you would pay for their like $10,000 training course, and then that really didn't add too much value or much more than what you can get on the internet for free. So I was just like, okay, the concept's there. Let me do a little bit more digging, a little bit more research on my own. So what I did was I went online and I signed up to this website called BiggerPockets, which is like social media for real estate investors, I guess you could say. And I just started making, like, reading the forums, reading everything I could about real estate investing. How can I get started with little or no money? How can I get started with limited resources without knowing anyone? I didn't know anyone in this field. I started from scratch. Like, I was still in high school at this point, I believe, just getting ready to graduate. And oh no, it was summer after I graduated is when I went to the seminar and I started doing research about all of this. I think my first BiggerPockets post was made in September of 2016. So to give you a little bit of timeline, I started working on personal development at the end of high school, which was about April of 2015. And then from April until September is when I started, I did the college thing for about a year. And then after that is when I started getting serious about real estate, which was September of 2016. And then that's when I spent like 9 months learning just back to back. Like, even while I was going to school, learning as much as I could, reading as much as I could, asking as many questions as I can. And I was like truly motivated to like figure this thing out and do my first deal. But there's this thing called analysis paralysis, where you kind of get stuck into wanting to know everything before you actually take action. And so that's a barrier that a lot of people have to overcome, is that, okay, when do I need to start taking action? And if I can do this all over again, I would have just taken action immediately, because as soon as I started taking action, that whole 9 months went out the window. It was like completely a different language. Like, once you start doing things, it's a totally different feeling and process than reading about something than actually doing it. So kind of my first steps were: 1, changing my mindset. Step number 2 was signing up on BiggerPockets. Step number 3 was taking action. So once I finally took action, the first thing I did was to try to market to find real estate investment deals. So I made these business cards, and I kind of was just faking it till I made it. I made business cards that said that I was an investor, I was the president of my own LLC, and so forth and so on. And the company was called like Brooks Investments, and I had Brooks Investments at yahoo.com, had it all worked out. I went to Staples. My business card said that like I bought houses in this situation, in this condition, any condition, fast cash, blah blah blah. So went to Staples, got 500 cards printed out for like $15, which ended up turning to be about 3 cents a business card, and you will understand why I just told you the metrics of that later in the video. But so it was just about 3 cents a business card, and I was just like, I just held on to him. I didn't, like, this was still in Texas. I just held on to him. I didn't know what to do with them. I knew what to do with them, pass them out, obviously. But, like, I was just too scared to go pass them out to someone, because, like, okay, how are they going to feel about some 18-year-old kid wanting to buy their house? Like, what merit, what value do I have? And, like, I was dead broke. I didn't have the money, to actually go out and to buy a house. And so it was, like, legit faking it till I made it. So I got these cards made, was just sitting on them. I had them for about a good 3 months before I actually passed out my very first one. And so what I did was, I was on my way to community college in Mississippi. I had moved to Mississippi over the summer because I was just doing a little bit too much partying, and I needed to like kind of slow down a little bit. So where else do you go? Mississippi, because what is there to do in Mississippi? So, but anyways, there's not really too much trouble you can get into unless you're looking for it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to crack down. I'm going to move to Mississippi, sacrifice all my friends, all my free time, and just be completely motivated. Completely indulged into my future, if you get what I'm saying. So I went to Mississippi, slowed down, wasn't going out, wasn't partying, just every second that I had free time, I was looking into real estate, looking how I can do my first deal, looking how I can, just be successful, learning all that I could, and so forth and so on. So I was taking community college classes at the time to make my parents happy or whatnot. So while I was on my way to school one morning, I got stopped by a Jehovah's Witness. Well, I stopped at a gas station to go get coffee. A Jehovah's Witness was in the front passing out flyers, and I'll never forget her name. Her name was Miss Francis, sweet little older lady, and she doesn't really know that she changed my life. But she was passing out flyers. I was like, okay, if you're gonna be ballsy enough to give me your flyer, then I'm gonna be ballsy enough to give you my business card. I was like, it's ridiculous that I haven't passed out a single business card. They've just been sending my wallet. So she's ballsy enough to sit out here in front of a gas station and try to convert me to her religion, a complete stranger. Then why can't I pass out a business card? So I got my card out my wallet, gave it to her, and she looked over. She's like, oh, you buy houses? And I was like, yes, ma'am, I do. And she was like, okay, well, I got a house. Like, call me later after you get a class and we can, maybe take a look at it or something like that. And I was like, okay, perfect. So even then, after she said she had a house that she wanted to sell, I was too scared to even follow up with what she had said. Like, we had exchanged numbers. I gave her my card and everything like that. And so I never really reached out to her. I was just like thinking like, okay, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. Like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And so long story short, she ended up calling me. So after she called me, we talked for a little bit. She had a property that she wanted to sell, set up an appointment to go take a look at it. So went over there, took a look at it, and it was just like a diamond in the rough, I guess you could say. Like, I still didn't know what I was doing, but it all worked out in the end. Got to the house. The house was in almost not perfect condition, but it was like, it wasn't like a tear down. It wasn't completely like ruined. The situation was that she had a family member that she used to rent the house to, but that family member moved out and she just needed money to like, she just wanted to get rid of the house because she didn't want to deal with it anymore. Like, she didn't want to be a landlord. She wasn't trying to rent the house again. She didn't want it to sit there and be vacant. She didn't want to pay property taxes on it, and so forth and so on. So, and it was a house in like kind of like one of the lower class areas. So I was like, okay, and if you don't know this, then you know this now. In Mississippi, you can buy houses for dirt cheap, like cheaper than a used car. So this house was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, about 900 square feet. And it didn't really need any repairs besides like maybe the roof and like it had a flea infestation. So yeah, it had a flea infestation that I didn't know about until I was infested with fleas myself. So talk about, this is what HGTV doesn't tell you, like the ugly side of real estate, where you can get infested with fleas and then you have freaking bites that itch up the wazoo for days and now you're all scarred up and so forth and so on. But anyways, I mean, what do you do? It all was worth it in the end. So I went to the house, we're talking, and I'm like, okay, so what do you want for this property? And she was like, well, just make me an offer. So what I did, I just looked on Zillow, and Zillow said the house was worth about $18,000. So I was like, okay, would you take $12,000? And she like surprisingly took that offer, but I was like, okay. So I went home, went on BiggerPockets, and you guys can all like check like my BiggerPockets account. You can see like the timeline of like how this happened. I posted about when I first contacted her. I posted about when she called me when we went on the appointment, and then I posted asking questions about what do I do after that appointment. And so after that appointment, I got a contract from someone that was nice enough to give me one on BiggerPockets, and he gave me a contract, took it to her, filled it out. No. He got a contract, but I was kind of hesitant about the price because it may have been a little bit too much as I was doing a little bit more research. So I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna lowball it. So I called her back the next day and I was like, I'm sorry, Miss Francis, but I'm new to the area. I'm still learning the market, and I think I offered you a little bit too much for your property. Would you consider taking $2,000? So we went from $12,000 to $2,000, and surprisingly, she said yes. And like she was like, "Well, I really hope I can get $3,000, but you know what? $2,000 will work." I'm like, "Okay, cool, perfect." So I got a little bit skeptical. I posted about that on BiggerPockets. People were like, "You need to be like, more cautious because what if she doesn't actually own the house? Like." That's a big price grip, but you just need to be a little bit more cautious. And me being like, I'm more of an optimistic, so I see all the good in a situation rather than seeing all the bad. And so I was like, there's no way. Like, she owns this house. This is going to go smooth. This is going to be perfect. I had a good feeling in my spirit, so I was like, perfect, let's do it. So I got a contract for someone on BiggerPockets and got everything inked up. Did everything you're supposed to do. I went to the property, took pictures of it. She gave me a key, so I was showing it to prospective buyers, people who might be interested in it. So she agreed to sell it to me at $2,000. I didn't have $2,000 for my name. I probably had about $8 and some change and maybe a McDonald's gift card, but she didn't have to know that. So got her under contract and I put it on the market. I got it for $2,000. I put it on sale on Zillow, Craigslist, and a few other websites for like $6,000, I want to say. And I had some people reach out to me, so I showed it about a good 3 times. But the first guy that I showed it to is the one that ended up buying it. And he kind of talked to me about, if I knew what I was doing, I probably would have just bought that house for myself and kept it as a rental property. But I really didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't have any money. But if I knew what I knew now, or had what I had now, then I would have bought that house all day long. So got it for $2,000, sold it to the end person for $5,000. He talked me down just a little bit, and like I said, if I knew what I was doing, I probably could have got way more for the property. But I just decided, shoot, I was gonna make $3,000, and that's more money than I've ever seen in my entire life. So, so what I did was got an assignment contract to him. He signed that. We got all the paperwork to an attorney. He gave me $500 earnest money to show that he was serious. And once we got everything to the attorney took care of everything else. And so we set up that closing for the next week out. And Miss Francis came down. He came down. I came down. And the guy brought the $5,000. He paid for the attorney as well. The guy bought $5,000. Miss Francis got the $2,000 for the house, and then I got the difference of the $3,000. And that's how I flipped my first property. And ever since then, I just been rocking and rolling. Like I said, instead of 70 transactions my first 2 years in the business. It'll be 2 years this coming June of 2018. So I am extremely excited to keep growing, keep learning, keep expanding my brand, expanding my business, and hopefully give back to people in a way that I've been fortunate enough to be given to. I'm part of some amazing groups that have just taught me the world, that has changed my entire life. I have an amazing support system, a system of investors, and so forth and so on. So I just want to be, just add as much value as I can, motivate and inspire as many people as I can, and hopefully change the world. So yeah, that's the story of how I made my first $3,000 in real estate. And after I made that $3,000, I just reinvested it. I got my real estate license because I wanted a stronger foundation. Not to say that you need your license or anything like that, but I just wanted a solid foundation to build upon. I wanted people to take me serious. I wanted people to know that I was serious, that I took the time to invest in the class, invest my time in the class, and so forth and so on. And so getting my real estate license wasn't really a game changer, but like I said, it got my foot in the door to a lot of different networks and like social groups and people, and everyone knows that like your net worth, I mean, I hate saying this because it's kind of like a limiting belief, but your network is your net worth, and it really like that can make your growth, it can make you grow exponentially faster, I guess you could say, the more people you know and the better quality of people that you know, especially higher up in the field, or people that are like where you want to be in life, you know what I'm saying? So that's my story. I know this video was probably longer than I wanted it to be. I just wanted it to be a simple 5-minute video, but this is my first one. I'm probably going to get better or worse in time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want to talk about, just hit me up, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you guys anything real estate, anything in general. So yeah, like I said, thanks for watching my first YouTube video. I hope you stayed to the end. If you did, pat yourself on the back because you heard me talk for about a good 15 minutes, and that is a little bit too long, so I'm gonna hop off. All right, y'all, so take it easy. Checking out. Talk to you guys soon.